The San Jose Sharks win the Tank Bowl, which means they lost, but they actually won. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, we cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everyday, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today, the Sharks win or lose. We're still trying to figure it out. They won the game 4-2 over the Chicago Blackhawks. We're going to talk about the rookies continuing to make big impacts. Controversy around Connor Bedard. Spoiler, like that kind of ruined the game. We'll dig into the numbers and check in on the importance of the tank as we are still humming along to getting the first pick in that draft. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Okay, we have to start with, of course, Bedard, Celebrini, the matchup there. Let's just start with the Bedard thing, which, if you didn't see the game, Connor Bedard gets tripped by Mario Ferraro. It is 100% a trip by Mario Ferraro in the offensive zone. He still manages to get a shot off, which is kind of, or at least a shot attempt off. He gets back up, and it doesn't look like much. He kind of goes back to the bench. I think he says something to the ref, right? Which is, hey, you missed a call or something like that. Sits on the bench for like 20 seconds or whatever. And then the ref gives him a 10-minute misconduct where he is then basically with 11 minutes left in the third period. And this is a time when Chicago is pushing, looking to tie the game as the Sharks are leading 3-2. Bedard, right? He basically misses all but the last 50 seconds of the game, where after that, Tyler Toffoli scores an empty netter to seal the deal. The Sharks 1,000,000% caught a break. 2 breaks, right? The Mario Ferraro trip that should have been a trip. And then not having Chicago's best player in the box. And if you're listening right now and you're like, well, this is a Sharks podcast, whatever. If it was the other way around and it was Eklund-Celebrini, we would be throwing a fit right now. And what was a really fun, entertaining game, we want to see the best. We want to see, right? Can Connor Bedard tie this thing up? Can Eklund-Celebrini find a way to hold on? Like, we wanted to see that battle and that story and what would happen there. And we as sports fans were denied that. So it's just annoying, right? And the ref tonight with his like 1,000 whistles in a row, like it seemed like it was a little petty. And again, I don't know what I don't know what Bedard said to the ref. Who knows what he said to him? I'm sure you and I have heard worse things said to refs that have not been called or something, but it's just annoying. It feels like we were cheated on what could have been a really fun and special ending to this game, right? Because what if Chicago ties it up? And then what if we have Celebrini and Bedard in 3-on-3 overtime going at it? Like, what, just it feels like we were robbed of something potentially special there at the end. So, but sometimes you make your break, you make your luck, et cetera, et cetera. But it was just frustrating. Because it would have been really fun to see Bedard and Celebrini in a tight game at the end going at it here. It's okay. We got plenty of time. We'll see it. I'm sure we'll see it at some point. So, but the rookies tonight, Collin, Graf, buddy, Way to go. 2 goals tonight. Will Smith with the goal as well. We are starting to see Collin Graf. Look what happens when you put Collin Graf with other good players. Collin Graf plays well and produces. Great goals tonight from Collin Graf. The one from his first goal, the one from Wenberg, where he 100% like just reads what Alex Wenberg is doing. When Alex Wenberg made that spin move, like just to kind of shake the defender off, give himself some space. Just the noise I made, just the oh my gosh, like the noise came out of my mouth as he performed that, and then gets the puck to Collin Graf, and then you get the beautiful bar down, like that chink bar down sound. Great, just seeing Collin Graf and as he continues to grow and develop. And I tweeted it a couple games ago, or maybe it was last game, of when the Sharks get like a real third line, Collin Graf is going to put up a ton of points. And I know he's playing on the second line now. I still think like being a well-rounded third line is kind of what I expect for Collin Graf when the Sharks get more scoring. Like I think, and there's nothing wrong with playing like that. That's going to be his role, and I think he's going to be very, very good at it. But like it's nice to see a guy who's worked really hard. You've seen the improvements, even just over this year, how much he's improved his game. Now you're starting to see him get rewarded for it, and feels like he's going to be a solid piece for the Sharks going forward. Will Smith tonight with another goal and assist. The goal, that whole play, right? Toffoli with a nice breakout. Eklund taking a hit to make a pass over to Celebrini, kind of paying the price to make that play. Celebrini with a drop pass, and Will Smith, that growth from Will Smith, right, of seeing those goals start to come in. He almost had another goal later in the game that was kind of on 2-on-1 with him and Collin Graf. Like you're seeing, and then Will Smith, the assist on Collin Graf's second goal. Little clunky, a fanned one-timer that kind of bounces. And again, the Sharks just got a little lucky tonight with some of that. But you're loving what you're seeing, right? Because I think what they said the Sharks had seven goals in a row that came from rookies. Like it's not like the Sharks are winning games and it's coming from guys who aren't going to be here, in a month. Guys are going to be off the team soon. Like this is what you want. You want to see the young players leading the way, right? Will Smith and Eklund-Celebrini and William Eklund. Like William Eklund was flying around. I know he's not a rookie, but it was flying around tonight, especially at the start of the game. This whole team, that's how they started this game, was with their hair on fire. And that's something that we're seeing more and more from this Sharks team, right? If you think back kind of over the past year and a half or so, how poorly this team would start games, right? And the next step is now you can't play the first 20 minutes and then fall off a cliff, right? But we're seeing this team do a much better job of just showing up and being ready to play right away. And that wasn't always the case, even earlier this year, and especially under David Quinn, right? How often would it be 3-0, 5 minutes into the game because the team just wasn't ready to go? And you're seeing that, and it's right. It's Celebrini, it's Smith, it's Eklund, it's all these young guys leading the way, and you're seeing that tonight. I think also great responses from the team, right? Celebrini gets checked in the back of the head. I don't think Dickinson meant it, right? I think Dickinson tried to get around him, accidentally checked him in the back of the head. But the team responds, right? Vlasic and Toffoli and Eklund in the mix there. I didn't see who the other defenseman was, but like everybody responds to that, right? And then next shift, Goodrow goes out there and fights. And I'm not the biggest fight guy, right? But that is you're standing up for your teammate and saying, like, you have to be careful, like, and I get that. Like, I totally get that. Like that you're trying to protect your young player there. So, gets to feel good about the win, right? Like this team needed a win. They've been playing really well. They've been playing really well since the Four Nations, with the exception of like one or two, like they have been playing very well. And tonight they got a win that they definitely, and you could see especially for a guy like Eklund, right? Who's had a tough week. And you saw he had a nice smile on his face when he did an interview with Tara Sloan afterwards. And you just see the joy coming back. And I think one, having two teenagers in the locker room all the time, like they're going to kind of keep things light and bubbly and bouncy. But this team knows where it's headed. And yes, this year hasn't been the year that they wanted, but there's a reason why we keep saying the future is teal, because you see why. Like nights like tonight are reasons why you're so excited about the future. So we're gonna dig into the numbers behind this game a little bit, look at how all the lines performed, et cetera, et cetera. Look at how Chicago kind of made things interesting, especially in the second period. And then we'll talk about the tank. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. If you're like me, your mornings have to start with a good cup of coffee. But I got tired of settling for grocery store brands that just weren't cutting it. So I turned to Trade, and let me tell you, this coffee is next level. Trade is the number one specialty coffee marketplace in the US, bringing you fresh coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Their experts have taste tested thousands of coffees, curating over 450 amazing roasts. Whether you're new to coffee or know exactly what you like, they've handpicked the perfect match for you. They sent a bag. The first bag was a game changer, smooth, rich flavor, and I can actually taste the difference from my usual coffee. Subscription makes it easy. No more last minute grocery store runs or settling for whatever's left on the shelf. And if you don't love your first bag, no worries. Trade will replace it for free until they get it right. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering our listeners 40% off your first order at drinktrade.com/lockedonnhl. That's drinktrade, TRADE.com/lockedonnhl for 40% off your first order. Drinktrade.com/lockedonnhl. And March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bet when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters, Cinderella stories, and even who's cutting down the nets. It's easy to go on there and just make your favorite picks. I always like the 12 upsets. It happens every year, guys. Pick a 12. Or if you want spreads, totals, game props, they've got you covered there. With tournament games happening almost every day, there's always something exciting to bet on. And the FanDuel app is simple to use. When you win, you get paid instantly, no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get on the college hoops action all tournament long. All right. Before we finish up, do want to, of course, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't yet, perfect time to subscribe as we continue. We got some time next week between games. We'll dive into some fun stuff. Got some interviews we're getting lined up. We got some more draft profiles coming. Plenty of great stuff here at the Locked On Sharks, where we cover your team every day. Okay. Let's dig into the numbers behind this game, because credit to San Jose. Like, they came out, like I said, on fire, started the game on fire, with taking it to the Blackhawks. Blackhawks, though, pushed back, especially at the end of, kind of made things interesting, middle of the second, but then the end of the second, and they really pushed back and got themselves back into this game, as you would expect when you're down by 1 goal. So, shot attempts in 52 minutes, basically 53 minutes of 5-on-5, 45-45, 50% actual shots on goal in this game in all situations, though 26-25, but shot attempts were dead even. Actual shots at 5-on-5, 22-21 in favor of the Blackhawks. Sharks power play, thank you, Collin, Graf. There are 2 power plays compared to the Blackhawks 1. There's a little bit of a difference there. Scoring chances for 22-21 in favor of the Blackhawks. High danger chances 10-5. Expected goals for 1.99 to 1.46. So a very even game throughout. And again, you wonder if you have Connor Bedard the last 10 minutes. If, again, I do think the Sharks kind of dodged a bullet there. So But definitely the second period, Chicago really took over at 5-on-5, 7 to 16 shot attempts in favor of Chicago, 3 to 9 scoring chances, 1 to 3 high danger chances, 0.15 to 0.79 expected goals for. Like, Chicago really came on in that second period, kind of coming out of the break there. And even though the Sharks did get 2 power plays, Chicago carried play at 5-on-5 during the second period. So it really, third period definitely kind of evened out a little bit more. 13 to 16 shot attempts in favor of the Blackhawks. 7 to 9 actual shots, 4 to 7 scoring chances, and 2 to 3 high danger chances. Like, it was much more even in the third period. So that is good from the Sharks, and not just kind of total collapsing and giving in. But again, bit of an asterisk without Bedard the final 10 minutes, basically. So looking at the Sharks forward lines in this game, Eklund-Celebrini-Toffoli were reunited, played 12-55, 15 to 9 shot attempts, 9 to 4 actual shots. Didn't score, but did give up a goal, 0.2 to 0.44 expected goals for, 6 to 6 scoring chances, 1 to 3 high danger chances for that line. That line, again, like, whatever line Celebrini's on, that line is going to be cooking. And this line was good tonight as well. And even like the goal they gave up was a little bit of a miscommunication there, but your Toffoli, I know he got the empty netter, but Toffoli's been really close. Like, I think I wouldn't be surprised if the next game, the Toffoli pots a couple. Like, he's been very close the last couple games, and we saw this before earlier in the season, right? I know he's been close, and all of a sudden he goes on a bit of a run here. I think Toffoli, put me down for a few Toffoli goals here in the next couple games. So, as for the Will Smith, Wenberg, Collin, Graf line, played 10-39, 10 to 10 shot attempts, 5 to 6 actual shots, had a goal again. Wenberg has looked really good coming out of Four Nations, and again, when you play with good players, like Wenberg has been basically stapled to either Will Smith or he's been on the Eklund-Toffoli line, you tend to have good results. So they had a goal, 0.49 to 0.51 expected goals for, 6 to 3 scoring chances, 1 to 3 high danger chances for that line. Good friend Noah Gregor Gobert made his Sharks debut tonight. We had the G line again with Gregor, Giles, and Goodrow. So they played 7-3, 8 to 5 shot attempts, 1 to 2 actual shots, 0.08 to 0.03 expected goals for, 3 to 2 scoring chances, and 0 to 0 high danger chances for that line. And then we also had Kostin, Delanger, and Kovalenko. 5-25, 1 to 3 shot attempts, 0 to 0 actual shots, 0.01 expected goals for, 0.0 expected goals allowed, 0 to 2 scoring chances, 0 to 0 high danger. We know the Sharks get their offense from their top 2 lines, and the other lines are doing stuff occasionally here and there. So, but I think, though, you have to feel good about the direction. Will Smith has been playing outstanding since mid-January, right? We think back to, him getting benched in that Wild game. He comes back in the Boston game, and since that moment, the light went on for him, and he's been everything that we hoped he would be as the 4th overall pick, right? And Celebrini's been everything that we could imagine and more as a 1st overall pick. And again, you're getting contributions from Collin, Graf, and Eklund was flying around tonight. Eklund probably could have had at least 2 goals that I can think of tonight as well. He's going to be due for a couple here as well. It's good to see again. It is all the young players kind of leading the way for the Sharks here. So looking at the defense tonight, for the defensive pairings, Mukhamadullin I'm just going to kind of start there. Definitely, he got another assist tonight. I think tonight had a couple, I think I tweeted out, he had a couple whoopsie daisies that were almost there, but he kind of survived them tonight. But Vlasic Liljegren led the way with Corsi at 59.09%, 13 to 9 shot attempts. For our Mukhamadullin, 53.33, 16 to 14 shot attempts. Jimmy Schultz and Desharnais, 42.86, 9 to 12 shot attempts. So I do wonder if Schultz, who looked pretty quiet tonight, I do wonder if he heads back down to the Barracuda soon, because they could definitely use him. He only played 13. He played less than 14 minutes tonight. And I think right now, if it was me personally, I would rather have Schultz playing big minutes on the Barracuda team that needs him for a push here. So we'll see kind of what happens here. But that's what I would do. But again, I'm just an idiot. So Gorgiev tonight was okay. He definitely got lucky. Again, kind of the theme of the night for the Sharks, got lucky at sometimes. 24 saves and 26 shots, 2 goals, 4 expected goals against, 2.28, right where you expected. 923 save percentage, 7 of 8 on high danger, 7 of 8 on mid danger, and then 9 on 9 of low danger. Got very lucky. I think it was Levshinov fired one from the point that went off the post that he wasn't even looking at. Was very much kind of staring off into, in left field there, but made some big saves when the Sharks needed him to make some big saves. So I am curious when and if we're going to see Romanov here. But again, like the Sharks, they play Saturday. They don't play again until Thursday. So we may just not see Romanov for a while. So anyway, but that's going to be it. We're going to kind of put a bow on this game, and then we're going to talk kind of bigger picture stuff here. Look at the tank and kind of where everybody is at right now as we get into the nitty gritty here as down the final stretch. So we'll get to that in just 1 second. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. The great thing about it is you don't have to juggle multiple apps, right? You can use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, and even plan long-term goals. And at managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. All right, before we finish up, we talk big picture where we're at with the tank. Do, of course, want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. When you're done with this episode, go check out one of the other great shows here at the Locked On Network. You have Locked On NHL, where we cover the biggest stories going on in the NHL every day. You can catch Seth and I. We have a good time every Tuesday, usually kind of catching up on all the weekend news. All the Monday news dump stuff is usually what happens on our shows on Tuesdays. So go check out that or any of the shows in the Bay Area. Locked On Warriors, Steph Curry with 4K, 4,000 threes. That's ridiculous. I'm trying to think, like, what's the hockey equivalent? That would be like, I don't know, like 400 power play goals. I don't know, man. That's just some ridiculous amount. Anyway, go or Locked On Niners as they try to pick up the pieces of a weird free agency. Locked On A's, Locked On Giants, get you guys ready for the regular season kicking off here and after 700 more preseason games. So check out any of those shows wherever you find this show, or of course you can watch on YouTube as well. Okay, so the Sharks won, also lost because they did get get a little tighter here with the tank standings. So, but it's okay. It's not to worry. Like it's not the end of the world. We do have plenty of time. So here is where we officially are at right now with the tank standings. So we have San Jose 45 points, Chicago with 49 points. Sharks do have, or I guess Chicago has a game in hand as well. The Sharks have played 67 games compared to Chicago's 66. Both these teams, basically, as long as they just kind of keep matching records, they'll be fine here. Buffalo and Nashville are like, they're not going to catch up here. It would take Chicago and San Jose winning. Like, there's 11 points between Chicago and Buffalo with 15 games left. So there's not much you're going to have to kind of worry about there. So, yeah, we are looking pretty good right now, and things kind of look decent for the Sharks going forward, because if you look at the strength of schedule and who the teams like Chicago and San Jose and who they have left to play, Chicago right now, or sorry, San Jose right now has the third toughest strength of schedule at 574 with 15 games left. They do have some teams, like the Sharks really have 3 teams that they're playing who are like aren't currently fighting for a playoff spot. The Sharks play Seattle, which is out of it. The Ducks, who are making a little bit of a run here, but they're still out of it, right? And the Bruins, who have fallen out of it and sold everyone off. Those are the 3 teams that they play that are kind of out of it. The Sharks play the Caps this weekend. Then they have games against Carolina, Toronto, LA. They have 3 games left against the Oilers and a game against Minnesota. Like, the Sharks are playing a lot of teams that have a lot to play for left, right? And yes, they do have a ton of home games, but at the end of the season is very kind of road heavy. For the last kind of week or so of the season for the Sharks is road heavy, but like the Sharks are playing a lot of teams that have a lot of stuff to play for, right? Like they need they're circling those 2 points from the Sharks. Like, we need these 2 points here. You look at a team like Toronto, who's kind of fighting with the Panthers for their playoff, kind of that top position there. The Kings are fighting for their spot, like in the Pacific. Edmonton, right? They want to, make sure that they play the Kings so they can play like they want to play the Kings again in the first round and beat the Kings again. Minnesota, who's in a very brutal Central Division. Like, there's a lot of teams that the Sharks are playing here that have a lot to play for. So, and then if you look at Chicago's schedule, so Chicago right now, they are currently 9th with strength of schedule at 561 with 16 games left. But if you kind of look at how their schedule lays out here, they do play some teams right now who are kind of a little bit in the middle of it, and they do play some teams that are kind of falling out, right? And Chicago has been playing pretty well as of late, right? Especially kind of since the beginning of the month. They have wins over the Ducks, wins over the Kings. They lose in overtime to Ottawa. They lose in overtime to Utah. They win in overtime to Utah. They lose in overtime to Nashville. They lose to Colorado. They lose to the Sharks tonight. That they outplayed the Sharks for 2 periods basically, and like they've been playing pretty well here for this team. That you wonder if the Seth Jones just drama kind of takes that weight off the team, right? But Chicago plays Vancouver, which is a mess, right? You never know what you're getting from Vancouver. Then they play Seattle. They play LA. They play the Blues, who are been kind of playing well, but really don't have anything else to play for. They play the Flyers, who've kind of the same thing, right? New Jersey, which is like I know they won tonight, but they're like missing a lot of people. You have a tough stretch here against New Jersey and Vegas, Utah, Colorado, Washington, but then you get 2 games against Pittsburgh. You play Boston. You play Winnipeg, which might have clinched everything by the third to last game. You play Montreal, which is probably going to be out. Like, I think there's just more winnable games for Chicago here. So as long as the Sharks and Chicago basically just finish with the same record, which, over these last stretch of games here, the Sharks are going to be okay. Like, there's still going to be in a prime position to have the first overall pick, best odds going into the draft lottery. So Nothing to worry about, guys. Plenty of stuff. So, and the Sharks are going to be playing some more kids here, more and more kids here soon. So, yeah, good win tonight. It was nice. It was nice to talk about a win for the first time in a while. So, I think the Shang tweeted out that was their first win at home since January 27th. Then you're like, that's a long time. Then they remember they were, basically a month of not being at home. So like all of February, they just weren't at home. So, but yeah. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me tonight. We will be back probably Sunday night to talk about the Caps game and the Barracuda, who have a big weekend series against the Roadrunners, Tucson Roadrunners. So we'll be back to kind of break that stuff down. So make sure you follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Till next week. Bye, friends.